Some of us in Greenville sort of ad hoc decided to put together a Kristallnacht commemoration. Kristallnacht was all about death and destruction and inhumanity. What would it be like if we, for the 75th, spun Kristallnacht on its axis and used it as a celebration of humanity, of the limitless potential for good that human beings still have despite things like the Holocaust?
In August 1938, the Swiss government closed its borders, prohibiting Austrian Jews from entering into Switzerland. Colonel Paul Grüniger was in charge of the Swiss border at St. Gallen. Disregarding the order, he permitted 3,600 Jewish refugees to flee into Switzerland. He falsified their registrations, so it appeared they had been in the country before March 1938 and therefore eligible for legal rights. When his actions were discovered, Grüniger was brought to trial, found guilty. He lost his post, his police rank, and his pension. Due to his criminal record, Grüniger struggled to make a living and died in 1972. "50 years after the war and 23 years after his death, the Swiss government reopened his case, absolving Paul Grüniger of all charges."
These are the people who, at altruistic peril, saved lives of Jews, babies, adults, elderly people, and certainly would have been killed instantly had they ever been found out. And there are incredibly heroic stories of plain, everyday people, I mean farmers and just street workers who took Jewish kids into their home.
For example, if you can think about Schindler's List, and think about the righteous Gentiles that did very good work, simply because they knew that's what they had to do, or believed that what was going on was really wrong.
In October 1940, the Germans called for the establishment of a ghetto in Warsaw. 400,000 Jews were forced to live in 1.3 square miles. Horrified by the Germans' persecution of the Jews, a group of Polish citizens formed an underground organization called Zagota, the Council for the Aid of the Jews. Irina Sendler was head of Zagota's Children's Bureau. Irina received permission to work in the Warsaw Ghetto as a plumbing and sewer specialist and began smuggling children out. Through underground corridors, a tram depot, in her toolbox, potato sacks, and coffins, Irina and members of the Zagota helped more than 2,500 Jewish children escape Warsaw, finding safe places to hide with families and in convents, hospitals, and orphanages. Irina kept a record of the names of all the children in a glass jar buried under a tree in her yard. After the war ended, she worked to reunite the children with any surviving relatives. Irina Sendler died in May 2008 at the age of 98.
We were living in an old building that was almost a ghetto, because that's where they put us, because we were Jewish. And I had no idea that it was happening, but I had a call in the morning from a girlfriend of mine who said, "Don't let your father leave," and she hung up. But my father had just left. And he went down, we lived on the 4th floor, walk up, and he went down and somebody arrested him. And he said, he knew the man, and he said, "Do me a favor, let me tell my wife." And he said, "Okay." So when he came to the door, he said, "I'm lost, I'll never see you again." And my mother even let him put on warm underwear and stuff. And then she rang our neighbor's bell, and my mother said, "Would you hide my husband?" And she said, "Yes." So she put him in her closet, and that's how my father survived.
Altruism is not a handout, but it's a hand up. It's helping people in every way, in every day, every situation that you possibly can. And it's people making a difference, making lives better for humanity. The one thing that I've always loved about Greenville is the people, and watching the community always reach out and help their fellow man.
It was thought of being just a a single event or maybe a couple of events over a weekend. You're trying to tell a story of what the righteous Gentiles did to help the Jews and others. It needs to be bigger. And so it became the Year of Altruism. The idea is that this single action by a righteous person led to saving of a particular life that blossomed into a tree, into a family, and carried on, that would not have occurred if this righteous person hadn't stepped forward and risked to help somebody get away from the inhumanity that was going on.
The Year of Altruism shines the spotlight on heroes of the past and present in order to inspire the future. It is a movement powered by humanity. Be a spark in your community. Visit yearofaltruism.org for more information.